Hello, Will Smith, WhichBookie horse racing analyst here, and welcome to a Cheltenham Festival betting guide for 2021. Obviously the Cheltenham Festival every year is the main focus for many punters up and down the land, and 2021 it will be no different. We're just a matter of days or weeks away now, so excitement is building, and I just thought I'd put together a few little pointers to maybe try and maximise your profits and enjoyment in the week in the Cotswolds upcoming. The first thing to think of, and this is probably prevalent in any betting guide for any Cheltenham Festival, and that is to concentrate on previous festival form. It is without doubt the biggest form pointer to what will play out over those 4 days, without a shadow of a doubt. There will be form lines that are developed over the course of the season, probably in heavy or soft conditions for the most part, and they will be quickly torn to shreds, I guarantee you. Some will stand up because the quality will rise to the top, but essentially last year's Cheltenham Festival 2020, if I could give you one piece of advice, if you don't have too much time and you just have one thing that you want to do before this year's festival, it's to try and watch every race from last year's Cheltenham Festival back again, because there will be so many things that you pick up, things that you didn't notice at the time, and it will inform you hugely. And I think just with that in mind, there's probably a few horses that have been perhaps a little bit below par during the course of this jump season, who ran belters last year at the 2020 festival and are probably overpriced on account of that. Just a small selection of horses that you could certainly back this year and I believe are overpriced, and they're the likes of Abracadabras, Dame de Compagnie, Put the Kettle On, Melon, The Storyteller, Cire de Bolay, Minella Indo, just to name a handful really, who will probably put in another very good performance at the Cheltenham Festival. So previous festival form, watch those replays back. Similarly, trainers, they will target the Cheltenham Festival. The bigger battalions, obviously Willie Mullins, Paul Nicholls, etc., they will obviously target it, and Willie Mullins has a huge number of favourites at the meeting, and that is understandable because he had a brilliant Dublin Racing Festival. But just with those in mind, I wonder how many will improve again. They've obviously put in stellar performances, but there might just be one or two trainers who have kept a little bit up their sleeve for those 4 days at Prestbury Park. And with that in mind, the likes of Nicky Henderson, who's probably had a quiet enough season, Colin Tizard has had a very quiet season, maybe one or two slight underlying issues. If they can rectify them, you wouldn't put it beyond the realms of possibility that he could have a really good Cheltenham Festival. And Gordon Elliott is a trainer who makes no secret of the fact that he focuses almost all of his efforts on getting as many Cheltenham Festival winners as he possibly can. He had a few horses that were under a bit of a cloud at Christmas time, but the signs over the last couple of weeks have been very, very positive. And he has a whole host of chances in the graded races, but it's the handicaps that I think is where he's going to come up trumps. He's got a whole host of really interesting handicap entries that have just been confirmed in the last day or so, and I think it will pay hugely to follow Gordon Elliott in those handicaps, and also some of his horses in the graded races, as I said, the likes of Abracadabras, Cire de Bolay, The Storyteller, and one or two others. He's available at 3-1 or 7-2 in the top festival trainer market, which wouldn't be the maddest bet in the world, I don't think. A lot of people expect Willie Mullins to dominate, and he will have his fair share of winners, but I do think Gordon Elliott will too. And with that in mind, it's probably very much notable to look out for which horses do actually come over from the Irish Sea with the whole COVID and Brexit situation. It will only be horses, I think, that connections feel have a real sporting chance. And so that's probably something particularly to note in handicaps as well, horses that are willing to travel over in those handicaps from Ireland, not just from the bigger trainers, probably from some of the smaller ones as well. Take advantage of the offers. Every year there are brilliant offers put out by every firm pretty much to try and entice punters in. Make sure you take advantage of those. Certainly look out for every possible angle you possibly can. This year it will be slightly different because there will be no betting shops open, sadly, so there will be a huge amount of online business that the bookmakers are looking to take and want to take. So keep your eye out, open as many accounts as you can, take advantage of the offers and the extra place terms that they will possibly throw up. And this year more so than ever, because they don't have the betting shops open, they might be keen to just be a little bit more liberal with their online businesses. Obviously, probably the biggest 4 betting days of the whole year. So they might just be a little bit more lenient than they sometimes can be with their online businesses. So keep an eye out for that. Get up early or stay up late. That's a mantra that I think for the Cheltenham Festival week is very much worth heeding. And that is with relation to the prices. Often, once the declarations are made for the races 48 hours out, the bookmakers will assess each particular race, and then very much from the afternoon before running up to sort of late evening, the night before racing, and the first couple of hours of the morning, that is the golden period for taking good prices, often wildly inflated prices, wildly inflated place terms. And if you have a particular fancy, play early in the morning or late the night before, because I guarantee that come post time, things will have just been squeezed and everything will be that little bit tighter. So if you do have a particular fancy and you're keen on it, don't wait too long to back it. Sometimes it is best in normal racing to wait as long as you can, but actually on this occasion I think getting up early in the morning and getting your selection sorted can be a very beneficial thing. And the last thing is, don't be obvious, don't follow the crowd, don't just back the short priced favourites. There will be a whole host of them that do get beaten, and that falls in hand with the Willie Mullins angle. Yes, he'll have lots of winners, but invariably they'll be quite well found in the market. They may well be overbet. And do they have that much more improvement to come? They could possibly do, because he is a genius and he has a great string of horses, but I certainly do think that it might be worth taking on some of them at the likely odds. And with that in mind, on the tote as well, play all the exotic tote bets like the play spots and scoop sixes, and in some of the big handicaps have a go at the exactas and trifectas, because you can quite quickly get a really good dividend if you hit the jackpot on that. And with the play spot, again, don't be obvious with it. Don't just stick in all the fancied horses, because if it happens, you won't get a profitable return because everyone will have done it. Pick some outsiders that you fancy, make sure you include them in your play spot perms. And above all else, enjoy it as much as you can. 4 days, obviously probably sat at home watching it. Clear your schedule, pack the kids off to school, sit down and enjoy the greatest show on turf. The 4 days of the Cheltenham Festival is upcoming.